Yeah. I'm just broadcasting because I feel bored of it. I'm just fishing for pike, that's all. I'm just fishing for pike, that's all. Take that. Oh, that's about the closest to you. Yep. There's no point of going stimming, is there? It's always got to be big. It's like if you go to McDonald's, you'd never buy the small stuff, yeah. Always the big stuff. Because their big stuff is small stuff. Not too bad. All you gotta do, get a big one. need bigger fish in this lake. I mean bigger fish to kill them. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I could, it's like I said to you the other night. I can catch fish faster than I can catch pike. But the catfish, you don't get so much money from, do you? Well, I'm gonna have fun Monday. Sorry. No, I've got to go to Animal Hospital Monday. Yep. Nope. It's not that. I reckon when we get out of the hospital sort of thing, we're going to hit the fucking traffic. Well, it's like, Cambridge traffic. It's alright when you're out of Cambridge, you know what I mean? But when you're inside it, it's a nightmare, isn't it? Well, the thing is though, the actual hospitals was basically on the outside of it. But then again, you got 1,000 people leaving Cambridge as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Mind you though, my town where I live in, yeah, right. 4:30, 5 o'clock time, yeah, is a standstill. Yeah. When you're like leaving the no, Royston, Hertfordshire. No, it's like when you leave the industrial state. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone's leaving work, so it's just a complete standstill. Yeah, but when I clock out, I want to get home. ASP. Mm, not really. I just want to get home and put my feet up. No, they're yours. I personally don't understand that competition. That's why I don't do it. I know you got to catch the biggest fish, and you got to catch the smallest fish. Do you know what I mean? But I don't understand it. Well, what's happening in the boxing? I know it's Chris Eubank, isn't it? I mean, Chris Eubank Jr., who is nothing like his old man. He's only there because his old man, really. Good. You know, something the greatest boxer of all time has to be I Am Mike Tyson, especially in his younger years. Wouldn't you agree? It's just a shame he was a bad boy though, wasn't he? Yeah, but when he went away in prison, he wasn't the same boxer no more when he come out. Good. It's like I always say, right? You know when he fought, what's his name? Lennox Lewis. A young Iron Mike Tyson would have killed him. Mike Tyson only fought him in that match for payday. It was like the same thing. It was that what's it called match? Oh, what's that UFC fighter's name? McGregor versus females. That was only a payday thing as well. Yep. The thing I was saying to someone at work, right? If McGregor had more boxing experience, right, that could be a completely different story with that match. Because McGregor was basically when he got to like the later stage of the round, he was all tired. Yeah, let us know then. To watch the BBC right live reporting, yeah. Eubank Jr. being showed up for the average boxer that he is. What's that over in Alaska? If Chris Eubank wins that, it's fixed. No, what's this? What is it? Oh, there it comes. Pops up. Has apparently stressed a shoulder injury. The last found if he has one. What was my peaked one? Three, and it's raining, so I'm quite cloudy, so my peak time's about 12. Good. Nope, nothing like his father. He's actually a very nice person. One of the people I used to work with, right, actually saw him in London, yeah? Chris Eubank. And he charted Eubank, right? And you know what he did? He shared a fucking text with him, didn't he? Yeah. He's probably got shoulders like mine, which are completely fucked. I've actually got tendonitis in my left shoulder joint. Okay. It's like basically, if someone like pushes me in my left shoulder, yeah, right, at work, it's like getting kicked in the fucking nuts. You know, with that sharpness of pain, you feel what I mean? Yeah, that's what it feels like. I do. It's not so bad at the weekends because I'm not using my shoulder that much. You know what I mean? But as soon as it comes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time, I'm in sheer agony. They will operate my shoulder because they said it could be, what's it called? They reckon it could be more good, more bad than good. Yep. No, it's actually the tendon. They wouldn't do it. The drugs they used to give me, right, for my shoulder, yeah, I think it was called naproxen. Yeah, I'm not allowed them no more because the naproxen is actually what's it called? What's some pills called? The ones you can buy in shops. No, not paracetamol, the other ones. Not, yeah, it's like them. And do you know what that does? They can rot your fucking stomach. That's probably why I've got fucking so many, toilet problems. I'm not allowed them. Oh, well, come on, fishies. I feel like going back to my car. Yeah. I have 800 gold coins and about 350k cash. Well, I did, but I only used it a couple of times, you know what I mean? I didn't go over the top of it. Yeah. Well, I did it a couple of times, you know what I mean? I admit to that. But some people who went over the top, they got like fucking. Basically, unlimited money, unlimited fucking coins. Which I'm actually hoping that Fishing Planet will actually look into, right? People's like if they have a database of the actual accounts, how many gold coins people actually got, and take all the gold coins away of money. Wouldn't that be an arsehole for them? Well, they did it in Grand Theft Auto, didn't they? What golfing game? Well, I personally think the people who actually done it have got away with it. Because they're such a small team as well, aren't they? No, they're actually quite a small team. Disgusting. I really wanted to know that as well. I'm going to tell your missus, don't use that sink again. Oh, the 64 Mini. Looks like a Commodore Amiga. It says the 64 Mini, first look. Looks like a Commodore Amiga. It's not a lake, it's a river.
Hey.
Yep.
Yo.
I may have to what's it called? Use the phone service. Below it. I'm thinking Dr. Pepper. Proper Johns? Nope, I don't have that sort of stuff this time of year. I mean, on a Saturday. My one unhealthy night, that's on a Friday night.
How is it going?
It's going boring, mate. I haven't. What the fuck's that? Do you know what I really fancy buying? Another petrol remote control car. Yeah. I actually had a monster truck one. That thing, like it takes like where my way is, you got like a park, yeah. It's basically got like 2 football pitches, and going across there, mate, it fucking just rolls. Not like slowly it went. It was fucking hammering it down around it. Trouble is though, I left it in the house, yeah. Someone decided to slam a door on it. It broke all the front axles on it. I can still get the parts for it though, but the engine's probably all seized up now. Cause you know that fucking what's it called, that petrol stuff they use is actually very corrosive. No, it's like a nitro base oil, and there's like different strengths of it. My one used to have like actually on the actual thing, right? You can actually buy like I think it's A 12, 15, 20 and 25. Mine needs to take the 25. You have to come and join me then, wouldn't you? What type of cereal? I want some. You know, say some actual RC cars, right, are actually quite fucking fast. No, they literally will do it over 120 miles an hour. I'm trying to fucking find where my mum went to. No, we can keep it. Keep both of them. See, this is why this game is semi-shit. Because there's fuck all events. Only if you're like an amateur type person, then you'll be alright. Cool. Mm. Where's mine? Here you go. Nintendo NES full setup. 45 quid. But that's probably hasn't got a box to it. I've got it. This was I got it set up for small fish. Have I? Not bad. on this game though. What? That's like a fucking year, that is. Noob. Do it. What's the real difference? There ain't no difference. I'm sure that's what slowing his pipe down. Because I couldn't even get to like some days um 10 a.m. My kidney should be full. Yeah. And one of his actually the depth set, you know what I mean? Because I used to run a 40 inch depth. Because I've been using your 10 inch setup. I've been using your 12. I keep going by a new keep net. What? No. You need to buy yourself one of them pole rods. Yeah. But they're not even fucking poles, are they? They're shitty things. Yeah, 23 foot. Which are basically garbage. That's why you need crankbaits. Not, I mean ground baits, sorry. So you can prep your fishing spot up. Because this pike here, do you know what I'll throw down here? I'll actually throw some, what would you do for pike? To bring them in? I'm saying for a ground bait for pike. Yeah. That's a very hard, that's a very hard one, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe a small chum line. Yeah. Definitely for carp. These are fucking stuff like that. Sharks. Do you know what I'll probably use? Some rotten fish. Well, as soon as I put my lead depth where I need to, right, I'm getting more bites. Right, with this, the 10 top rarest games. Now, 10 top rarest games. Right, here we go.
You might want to go digging in your basement after this. Who knows what you'll find? welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 rare and collectible video games.
Are you ready for this?
For this list, we selected the most rare and valuable video games based on known auction prices. And just so you know, we are using clips from YouTube for this video, because obviously we don't have millions of dollars to spare just to get our hands on a few of these games. Not yet, at least. Number 10, Gauntlet, Atari 2600.
I think I may actually own that game, actually.
Classic hack and slash dungeon crawling series of the same name, this rare Atari game puts you in the shoes of a young adventurer.
It's called The Gauntlet.
Himself to an ancient tribe. Never made available in retail stores, you could only obtain this game by ordering it through the mail directly from the developer, a little-known company called Answer Software. No one has spotted this obscure adventure game in over 10 years, since a copy was sold for about $3,000.
$3,000.
Number 9, The Ultimate 11, aka Super Sidekicks 4, Neo Geo.
SNK Football Championship.
The Neo Geo had a fairly limited library of games, mostly consisting of 2D fighting games and side-scrolling shooters. Super Sidekicks was one of the few sports series on the console, and although it was a relatively popular soccer franchise, the final entry, Super Sidekicks 4, saw an extremely limited release. The most difficult version of this game to find is the European release, and it is valued at up to $11,000.
Did you hear that?
Number 8, Atlantis 2, Atari 2600. The Atari had many games that emulated other popular titles, in this case, Space Invaders and Missile Command. The original retail version of Atlantis is valuable in its own right, but Atlantis 2 is a competition version that was sent out to the top players as part of a $10,000 competition. Slightly more difficult than the original version, the only way to physically tell the difference between the versions is a sticker on the box, labeling it as Atlantis 2. Very few copies of the competition edition exist, and they're valued between $5,000 and $18,000. Number 7, Red Sea Crossing, Atari 2600. Red Sea Crossing was a lost relic for video game collectors until 2007, when a copy was finally discovered and sold for $14,000 on eBay. Games based on the Bible don't tend to be extremely popular or widely produced. This game, where you guide Moses through a series of platforming challenges, was only available through the mail, and only about 100 copies were ever manufactured. As a testament to how rare it is, we honestly couldn't find any direct feed of this game in action. Number 6, Stadium Events, NES. 2,000 copies of this track and field game were produced and immediately recalled upon release. Nintendo decided to publish the game as a first-party exclusive and renamed it World Class Track Meet. A factory-sealed copy of this rare gem was sold in 2010 for over $40,000. So this is one of the biggest single auctions for a video game in history. Most copies of this game are not factory-sealed boxes, and therefore don't sell for nearly as much. Number 5, 1991 Nintendo Campus Challenge, NES.
Last year, the Nintendo Campus Challenge brought the fun and the excitement of high-intensity video game competition to 55 college campuses.
In general, tournament-specific games are extremely valuable. Never available for public purchase, only a few copies of this game were ever produced, and almost all of them were destroyed after the event's conclusion. One was found in a former Nintendo employee's garage, and it was ultimately sold in a private auction for over $21,000. These cartridges were used as Nintendo toured across college campuses around the United States, and included modified, score attack versions of Super Mario 3, Pinbot, and Dr. Mario. There's only one known copy in existence, though there are reproduction parts available. Number 4, 1990 Nintendo World Championships, Gold Edition. Given away as a prize in a monthly competition for Nintendo Power Magazine, the gold version of this competition cartridge has an estimated value of $21,000 and contains modified score attack versions of Super Mario, Rad Racer, and the NES version of Tetris. The gray version of this cartridge, which was used in a California-based gaming tournament, is likewise highly sought after. There are still several copies of both versions that have yet to be tracked down, meaning they might still be floating around at flea markets across the U.S. Number 3, Air Raid, Atari 2600. Yet another Atari Space Invaders knockoff, it is speculated that only 12 copies of this game were ever released to the public. This obscure treasure is unique because of its interesting cartridge shape of a blue shell with a T-shaped handle at the top, or bottom depending on which way you're looking at. A boxed version of this game sold for over $33,000 in 2012. Before that landmark sale, it was assumed that only non-boxed versions of the game existed. Number 2, Birthday Mania, Atari 2600. A game that's so rare that this is the only known screenshot of the gameplay. You could order this game directly from the developer, with personalized happy birthday messages programmed into the gameplay. This was the original party game, and included a series of birthday-themed activities, such as popping balloons or blowing out candles. There is only one verified version of this game in existence, though other collectors claim to have seen additional copies. Since this game has never been sold, there's no exact value, but collectors speculate it could be worth between $15,000 and $35,000. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
But I like that 'cause most of the various games are Ataris. Okay, which is number 1?
Number 1, Gamma Attack, Atari 2600. There is only one known copy of Gamma Attack in existence, which currently resides in the library of a private video game collector. The owner put it up on eBay for a staggering $500,000. Though he was likely overestimating the game's value by quite a lot, the general consensus is that it could easily go for upwards of $50,000. Gamma Attack is a fairly straightforward tank shooting game, yet its extreme rarity and mystique make it the most valuable and collectible game of all time. Agree with our list? Did we miss an extremely rare video game that you know of? For more valuable top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Right, top 10 rarest game consoles. You ready for this next one?
What is up, everyone? And as many of you may know, there are many different variations of consoles that have circulated since the very beginning of the video game frenzy. However, there are also many that have not been so popular due to their scarcity and have since become a very valuable, expensive collector's item. This is what we will be focusing on today in our top 10 most rare and
Let's see which
valuable
ones we
consoles.
found.
Everyone in the mid and late 90s knew Pokemon, or at least knew who the beloved mascot was, Pikachu. There were Pokemon merchandise everywhere, video games, trading cards, toys, books, movies. But in 1998, Nintendo had a deal with Toys R Us to sell exclusive Pikachu Edition Nintendo 64 with a copy of the recently released Hey You Pikachu. This console rocked a blue and yellow color scheme with Pikachu's cheek pouch lighting up when the console was powered. However, it did not sell very well in the US, probably due to the fact that Hey You Pikachu sucked big time. It's important to note that there are different versions of this console. Asia and Europe both received an orange and crystal
Any
blue
luck?
version of this console. Due to the fact that they were more popular at that time in those regions, these consoles are more common in that area. The North American version is the most valuable due to the fact that it did not sell well and there are fewer floating around. A complete set of this console, which includes the controller, the game pack of Hey You Pikachu, the microphone, and the console itself, could run you around $600.
No, not too bad.
Resident Evil is a worldwide known IP, and when the Cutting Edge Dreamcast was released in 1999, Code Veronica was one of the games that showed off what the console could do. To celebrate the success and release of Code Veronica, Sega decided to produce a commemorative console to Resident Evil itself, and to distribute them through Dreamcast Direct. Dreamcast Direct was Sega's version of Club Nintendo. It was distributed through the Japanese magazine Famitsu. Only around 200 of these are known to exist and rarely come up for sale at auctions. These are believed to be worth well over $4,000 complete.
Yeah, for a Dreamcast.
Nintendo GameCube was not one of Nintendo's best consoles, but it does have its expensive oddities here and there. In 2003, Nintendo of Japan made a deal with Square to release Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles exclusively for the GameCube. Now, while the game itself isn't very rare or expensive in itself, the limited edition Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles GameCube console is. Released only in Japan, this thing, I have to admit, is completely beautiful. It sports a white pearl color scheme on the entire console with a matching controller and a GameCube Advance player. Now, as some may say, the Game Boy Advance player is a bit on the uncommon side nowadays in itself, so I could only imagine how much just this pearl white player could fetch by itself. Now, while the game was not received very well with the Final Fantasy community, the console itself didn't move very many units. Because of this, the console fetches a hefty price nowadays, and as of recording this video, there is only one on eBay selling for over $4,000. Damn. Halo is a console selling game, and when Halo 4 was released, Taco Bell took advantage of its appeal and decided to team up with Microsoft for a contest. The contest involved buying a Supreme Burrito for a chance to win an exclusive Xbox Slim 360 with a Taco Bell paint scheme. Now, there aren't very many of these, with an estimated of only 3 to have been given away. None to my knowledge have surfaced for sale, but the number itself is enough to make this list. Can't really put a price on it, but I'm sure it fetches a very high price.
Number 6.
Every year in Germany, there is a large gaming convention called the Leipzig Gaming Convention. And in 2004, they surprised everyone with a special contest to win a one-of-one Atari Xbox. Now, there's nothing special about this Xbox other than the Atari itself. The winner also won other Atari memorabilia along with a few games. Unfortunately, not much is known about this console or who even won it, but one thing is known is that it's probably worth a ton of money. There's only one of these that exists, and once again, no one has come forward to claim the ownership.
Number
Gundam
5.
is a very popular anime in Japan. It is well received and loved by many, even here in the United States. And once again, to commemorate Gundam's success in Japan, Sega decided to make only 78 special edition Gundam Dreamcast. Its color scheme is based on the chest plate of the popular RX-78 Gundam. Only a few retailers in Japan had these available for purchase, and due to its scarcity, the Gundam Dreamcast could set you back about $7,000 complete.
Number 4.
Men in Black was an extremely popular movie in the US. It even sprung its own animated series. And honestly, I don't even remember playing it or liking any of the MIB video games when I was a kid. This is why many collectors were baffled when they found out that PlayStation decided to make a very limited amount of Men in Black PlayStation 1 consoles back when the movie was released. The only noticeable difference of this console is the black color scheme along with the MIB logo on the display. Very, very, very little is known of this console. And again, very rarely are these surfacing. I can only imagine that this fact alone makes this console an extremely rare and valuable collector's item. This next one doesn't really have an interesting story to it like the others, other than the fact that Sega thought the color scheme was cool. Mazziora is another name for chroma flare or pearlescent. It's a special coating that can change color depending on the lighting in the room. Sega thought it was cool and made a few Dreamcasts out of this concept. There are only about 500 of these known to exist, and once again, very few have surfaced. No one really knows how these were distributed, but it is said that these were given out to race car drivers as prizes. With race car drivers not really caring about video games, I doubt they stayed in their possessions and were probably given to relatives. There's currently a mint condition being sold right now for $6,800.
Come on, what's number one?
Sony had a very successful run with the PlayStation in the mid 90s. With the cutting edge graphics and visuals, it's no mystery as to why they're a top competitor even today. In 1998, to commemorate the 10 million PlayStation sale, Sony decided to make a 10 million model sporting a midnight blue color scheme, with only hundreds of these in each region being given away. Collectors only had 0.01% chance of winning it. Me personally, I have never seen one of these come up for sale, and to make things even more difficult and rare, Sony made one gold PS1 for a lucky winner, labeled the 10 million sold. As far as I know, no one has surfaced with it, but people have seen it and there's even pictures of it surfacing on the web. No owner has ever come forward for this console.
Are you ready for number one? Please be that
The number
PlayStation
one
Hybrid.
spot has to go to the 24 karat gold Minish Cap Game Boy SP. This is among one of the holy grails of Game Boys. It was a contest held upon release of the Minish Cap, kind of like the Willy Wonka contest. Each consumer who bought a Game Boy SP Minish Cap bundle had a small chance of winning a gold Game Boy with a gold card inside to claim the prize. To this day, there is no winner that has ever come forward with this console, only adding to the mystery of somewhere out there is still an unopened winning lottery ticket with this Grail console. It's completely covered in 24 karat gold from front to back, and since no one has surfaced with it, I can only imagine how much someone will be willing to pay for it. If there are any rare consoles that you feel should be on this list, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button. Have a good one.
Did you hear that last one? 24 karat gold Game Boy. Ready for the PS4 one?
The PlayStation 4 is still a relatively new console, but that doesn't mean there aren't games out there that are harder to find and are sought after by collectors. I'm your host, as always, K-Max Time, and today we're going to take a look at the top 10 rarest and most expensive PS4 games to date. Now, before we get into this list, I do want to mention that this list is based off of current availability and prices of these games. However, that is subject to change. If one of these games ends up getting another print run, it becomes common. You guys don't have to let me know in the comment section. Just let it go. It's not a big deal. So anyway, without that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right in with number 10. PT stands for Playable Teaser and was a demo for the Silent Hills horror game and became available for download on the PSN in August of 2004 for players of the series. This demo received a mass amount of attention and hype across the gaming industry, yet Konami, the game's publisher, decided to cancel the game and therefore removed the playable demo from the PlayStation Network. Since there was never any physical version of it and it was removed from the PSN store, the only way to get this game now is to buy a PlayStation 4 that already has a version of it installed, which, as you guys can imagine, it can be incredibly pricey. I mean, technically you're buying a whole system, not just one game, but it will cost you easily over $300 to play this game. Next up is an HD collection of 3 games that actually came out on the PS3. They're called Journey, Flow, and Flower, and it's called the Journey Collector's Edition. Now, all 3 of these games, like I said, came out on PS3 and are cheap, and there's even this collection edition available on PS3, which is also very common and very cheap. So you may be wondering, well, why is this version on the PS4, hard to find? Why is it collectible? Well, the reason behind this is, and we don't really know why, but this was never released in North America, instead being an Asian and European exclusive. super weird because we got this in physical form in America on PS3. It's not on PS4. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever. However, like I said, the only way to get this game is to obviously import it. But all PS4 games are region free, so you can play it on NTSC PS4. But the only way to get your hands on it is to import it from either Europe or Asia. And the game's not super expensive, but you will have to pay overseas shipping. So the game will be looking around $60 to $70 with shipping. Coming in at number 8 is Oddworld New and Tasty, and this game was limited to just 5,000 physical copies ever printed worldwide. And if you're unfamiliar with what limited run games are, then allow me to fill you in, as there are a few of their games on this list. Basically, it's a small company that takes somewhat popular indie games that never got a physical release and makes them into incredibly low print run copies for collectors and fans of the series. Many of their games have under a few thousand copies ever made, and the sought-after ones can demand top dollar on the secondary market. Anyway, with that out of the way, this game is one of the more sought-after limited run games. It's a pretty fun platform with some great handling, and it's got a very funny sense of humor throughout it. And if you want to buy a copy of it now on Amazon or eBay, the only way to get it is well over $100. So get out there and get it now, though, because, like I said, only 5,000 copies ever printed. Continuing on with the limited run games theme is a pair of Shantae games that recently released on the PS4. Risky's Revenge DX and Pirate's Curse both only got 6,000 physical copies ever produced for the site, and of course they sold out immediately. If you're not familiar with the Shantae series, it's a fantastic platforming game that originally came out on the Game Boy Color and is famous for being one of the rarest and most sought-after Game Boy Color games as well. But now, these versions are incredibly collectible and super fun as well. Not to be confused with the recent release Shantae Half Genie Hero, which did get a full retail release. Risky's Revenge and Pirate's Curse, however, go for $90 to $100 on the secondary market these days, and the price will continue to go up. Next up is yet another game that was never released in the United States, making it pretty rare to come by. Toro is a bullfighting game that was only released in Spain and other similar regions. The game itself is pretty simple and actually got terrible reviews. It's pretty clear why this game never made its way onto American shelves, as bullfighting is kind of frowned upon here in the States. You can actually download it from the PSN for $5, but for any collector, physical copies are the only way to go, and to get your hands on one, you'll have to import it from overseas. Again, it's not crazy expensive, but the shipping will cost a bit, and getting a copy will cost you around $40 to $50 depending on where you get it shipped from. Futuridium was another limited run game with only 2,000 copies ever printed. The game was a very neat retro style shooter, or shmup if you want to call it that. The gameplay is fast-paced and super addicting. Definitely one of the better limited games they've ever put out. And overall, a great little shooter game that many people are after for the collection. A lot of shooters seem to go up in price. We're always looking for good shooters and good RPGs, and this is a great shooter. With the print run being one of the lowest ever, even for limited run games, the supply of copies in the secondary market is incredibly low, and prices out there are getting higher and higher. Most copies are sold for $70 to $80 these days. Number 4 goes to Gravity Rush Remastered, which originally came out only on the Vita, but was such a popular game that Sony decided to bring it to the PS4, but it was only sold in limited numbers and only on Amazon's website. Needless to say, not many copies are out there for sale these days, and with the recent release of Gravity Rush 2 on the PS4, the series has gained a massive following, and the demand for the remastered version has skyrocketed. The game is selling for well over $100 right now, and unless they decide to do another print run of the game, it will remain highly collectible. That's why I'm pretty happy that I actually picked up a copy at a local GameStop for $30 a few months back. If you want to check that out and check out the rest of my over 50 PS4 games in my collection, check out my PS4 collection video. There'll be a link in the end of the video and in the description. Number 3 goes to Retro City Rampage DX, which is a top-down 8-bit free roam adventure game inspired by Grand Theft Auto and developed exclusively almost by one man. The game can be downloaded on PSN, but a limited run of the physical copies were created for fans, and only 2,000 were ever sold, and 50 were given out at a PlayStation event. But due to the hype surrounding the game and the fact that Retro City Rampage is simply a great game, it's super fun, it remains one of the most highly sought-after PS4 games. Now, it is important to note that the game originally only had 2,000 copies printed, and it was very exclusive, but has since been re-released with a newer version and a different cover art. That newer version is pretty cheap, costing around $20 to $25, but the original print run with the different cover still still demands a very high price to collectors and goes for well over $100. Jumping in at number 2 on our list is a somewhat surprisingly rare game. One that you would never think to be this rare, but it actually is. Saints Row 4 Re-Elected. Like I said, it's extremely common. However, the Australian first print version is insanely rare. Now, the backstory behind this is when Saints Row 4 was originally supposed to come out for PS3 in Australia, their government made the developers restrict and remove certain parts of the game's content in order to give it an acceptable rating to be sold on Australian shelves. That was the last gen version. Now, that version ended up meeting the requirements and was able to be sold. It was, however, remastered and re-released on PS4, and when they did this, they re-released the PS4 version as a version that wasn't restricted. It didn't have those things taken out. It was the uncut American version that was released in Australia. However, it was quickly noticed, and they recalled all the copies of it. The developer Deep Silver announced nationwide recalls and refunds for everyone that brought a copy back. They could get a new version that was acceptable and all that kind of stuff. So most of those copies were taken off shelves and destroyed. It is not known just how many copies still exist of the original Australian first print run, but collectors are willing to pay a pretty penny for a copy of one, well over $150. And finally, our number 1 game goes to
Same race.
Saturday Morning RPG, which is easily the most sought-after limited run game title out there. Saturday Morning RPG takes a lot of inspiration from 80s Saturday morning cartoons and features JRPG gameplay, which is pretty good in my opinion. The game was highly rated and received with much praise from fans and critics alike, but with only 2,000 physical copies ever made, you can see how demand has skyrocketed and the prices have gone up. Again, as with all limited run games, you can download the game digitally, but for those hardcore collectors who only want physical media, they'll have to pay a hefty price if they missed out on the original sale of the game. There are only a handful of copies that are ever pop up for sale every now and then, and that number will decrease over time as they slowly all the copies find their way into private collections. If you want a copy, I suggest doing it sooner rather than later, but you're still going to have to spend well over $150 for it these days. But until next time, guys, that's all I have time for today. I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you guys did, make sure to hit that like button as it really helps out my channel. Let's aim for 500 likes on the video. Like I said, we really appreciate you guys to do that. Also, check out some of my other PS4 videos on the channel. I've got 100 likes on the video. We really appreciate you guys to do that. Also, check out some of my other PS4 videos on the channel. I've got
Well, I'm going to go back to bed anyway in a minute. Just want to film a keeping it up. 380. But I'm like 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. Where did that come from? A trophy, would I? You see, there should be actually more fish around instead of pike. Yeah. I reckon there should be like, you know, like probably gar actually, alligator gar. Yeah, there should be bass in here. Should be carp. Because all these predators got everything, haven't they? That's what he said. We should go troll. Sorry. They should let us have trolling so we can connect a net to our boats. And have 4 people in it. One can drive it, and the other one can fucking fish at the end of it. Perhaps sea fishing. Or at least have, yeah. Like basically you can park your boat up and you can fish off the end of it. Instead of actually sitting like in the canoe. I hate these canoes. Kayaks, whatever bloody call them. Yep. Where are you fishing? Behind me? You can't because I can't see you. What spot? You can. There's 2 spots you can go to. You can go. Let's get some map. What's it called? Woods of the Eastern Bank, or King of the Green Bay. Oh crap! He's now going to put me in a new room now. Your boat will be moved into a set intel position. No. Yeah, you ditched bloody boat you saw me, didn't you? Naughty person. Right, on this bomb shot I'm going. I should be on tomorrow. Yeah, catch that.